loud there, sorry. Gonna call to order this Planning and Zoning meeting of Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Gonna take roll, so speak loudly. Commissioner Faulkner is absent. Commissioner Anderson?
Present.
Commissioner Bowie? Commissioner Crane?
Present.
Commissioner Fizer is present. Commissioner Meisky? Commissioner Sarsfield?
Present.
And Mayor Turnbow.
Here.
Okay, we have no personal appearances tonight. The first thing is the consent agenda, which is acceptance of minutes from our last meeting on April 18th. So, Commissioner Bowie is here.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I move that we accept the minutes from the April 18th, 2017 meeting.
Second.
Who's the second? Okay. All right. Commissioner Crane has made the motion to accept the meetings of the last meeting, the minutes of the last meeting, and it was seconded by Commissioner Sarsfield. Is everybody, sorry, I'm not getting the right thing. Let's all vote. That's what I'm trying to say in my own way. Everyone in favor, raise your hand. Okay, I think that's pretty unanimous. Thank you. This is kind of new, so bear with me, please. Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to have the record reflect that Mr. Bowie is present now.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, thank you. Yeah, I came to this. Okay, we have some old business, a continuation of case 17013, the waiver of design requirements for 104 East Olive Street. So we're going to have staff kind of refresh us on what's going on, so let you have your report.
Thank you, Commissioner. As you are likely aware, our last meeting on April 18th, we discussed an application that had been filed by True Vision Construction to request a waiver for the design requirement relating to the placement of a garage door for a home they proposed to construct on 104 East Olive Street. We had a really good discussion at that meeting. However, the commission had directed staff to continue that meeting until tonight in order to give the applicant time to talk with the neighbors and the residents in the neighborhood, as well as give a chance for staff to send letters out to those same neighbors and let them know of this meeting tonight in case they wanted to come and voice any opinions that they had regarding the construction of that home. Staff sent out 21 notices to neighbors surrounding the area. We didn't have any, we had one neighbor call in who was just curious about what the sign was that was on the property because staff placed a sign there that let them know that there was a case for that property. But she wasn't really concerned, as once I explained to her what it was, she didn't really consider anything that was too major. That was the only kind of conversation we had related to that. We also asked the applicant to submit sort of a color rendering of what the proposed house would look like when it was completed. At the last meeting, he indicated that they would be including some specific design details as far as the brickwork, the garage doors, and just the overall appearance of the house. So he did submit that here, which is in front of you tonight, as well on the projected screen there. So he did provide that for you as well. But as far as that, that's all we have for an update on that. I don't know if the applicant has spoken to any of the residents in the neighborhood, but he might have some more specific comments related to that for you all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we can hear from the applicant. If you'd like to come forward and state your name and...
Justin Maynard with True Vision Construction. I did have the opportunity this afternoon, actually. I had intended to do it this weekend, but the weather didn't quite pan out so well. I spoke with residents on 215 Franklin. 106 East Maple, 107 East Olive, and 304 South Washington. Of many doors that I knocked on, those are the ones that I got answers from. All 4 of those people did sign off saying that they were okay with it. I did have one resident on the corner of Plum and Franklin who was not in favor of it. You know, she didn't sign anything or make a comment or anything, but she did say that it wasn't exactly something that she would want right there. Following after those residents, I did proceed to go to the businesses, the daycare, which is across the street, the Eagles Club, which is across the street from that on Washington, and also the dentist office, which is Cass County Smiles. Everybody was fine with it. Didn't get to speak with but one of the actual property owners, but spoke with employees. One of them called the owner, and she said, you know, if she needed to sign something, she'd be fine with that. But that was, for the most part, the input that I had was pretty favorable. So,
Okay,
okay,
thank you.
thank you.
So do we do public comments? Okay. All right, now we're going to, if anyone from the public wishes to speak, now's the time. Come forward and state your name and address. Do we have any public that wants to speak? Thank you.
My name is Ryan Dowden. I have, I believe, 106 right next door, Olive, that property. And I just wanted to come up here because I don't live there. It's a vacant property. It's just a lot. So I wasn't able to meet with him and sign, but I wanted to come here to show that I don't have any opposition to it. And that was really it. I'm mainly coming here just as curious as to the outcome of this meeting. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Anyone else?
Just a quick question for Mr. Dowden. You say you're not a resident of the area, or?
I'm not an area resident, but I own the lot next door.
You own the lot?
I did receive one of the notices, one of the 21 notices.
Okay.
Okay, I guess now we can, if any of the commissioners have any comments or questions? Mr. Bowie?
I got just a quick question. It may be answered in here. Maybe Mr. Catterick can help me out with it. Give us an idea what the intent of the original specific design requirements in terms of having the garage doors facing the street set back 8 feet from the primary facade. Is there, what was the original intention upon that intention? Do you know or not know, or?
So the intent of the, I guess, the overall intent of the original town neighborhood plan itself is to preserve the unique character of the neighborhood itself.
Right.
And then I guess the specific intent of the garage door requirement is to, again, preserve the unique character of the houses that are existing in the neighborhood that were kind of the original structures of that area. A lot of those houses have kind of differences in the way their garages are oriented. Some of them have garages, some of them don't. Some of them have carports, some of them just have driveways. So the intent of that is to preserve that uniqueness and not have garage doors as the forefront of the house that you see, not the protruding feature that you see when you approach the house, if you will.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question?
It does. It seems like a lot of the homes in that specific neighborhood are, for lack of a better word, kind of haphazard all over the place. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Right.
And so I was just curious how many others do we have that are like this currently in that neighborhood? Any others that have gotten waivers like this?
Interesting. So the house that's located right across the street, the address is, it's in this packet here, but it slips my mind. It's located right across the street from where this house is being proposed, and it's literally the exact same floor plan as this one being proposed, but it was constructed prior to the adoption of the original town neighborhood plan before those guidelines and requirements were in place, which is why it didn't have to have that design waiver. There have been, I think, 2 other houses constructed that have applied for those waivers. One of them was on, I believe, Washington Street, and I can't think of the other one right now. And both of those applied for those waivers, and I believe both of them were granted.
Okay.
And I think one of them had, I guess, kind of the reasoning for granting one of them was it had a front porch that kind of offset the garage a little bit. It was still a front-facing garage, but it still had some of those unique characteristics, and it was towards the beginning of that plan when it was first adopted, so not everybody was really clear on those requirements at that time.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good information to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, if I could. First off, thank you, Justin. I appreciate your patience on that and going out and being willing to check with the neighbors. David, I wasn't aware that there were waivers provided to a couple of others, so I wished I'd kind of had that information prior, because it would have been good to know. I know that our concern is that our UDC does have provisions for good neighbor meetings, which we don't have. We just did this at my request and the board's indulgence, so that we could get and make sure that we did have a consensus that if we're not going with the original town overlay plan, that we were getting a consensus from the neighbors in that area that they were good with what we were allowing to be done. Because it doesn't go to the council. I mean, this will end with us tonight and doesn't go to the city council. And I wanted to make sure, as their representative, that all interests were being met at this point. So I do know that, Jim, that you have taken the direction to ensure that any future, by way of coming back to us with some code provisions that need to be updated to allow us. Is that not correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, so that a good neighbor meeting might actually be part of the process in the future and not delay it 2 weeks as what's done here. And, with that, I'm going to be voting for it tonight, because I appreciate the extra diligence on that. And with the redevelopment of Original Town, and it does seem like that's the trend right now, and there's going to be a lot of building that occurs there over the next couple of years. We do want to make sure that we're governing appropriately for the folks that are there, and whether or not they're reconstructing or just rehabbing or just taking care of their properties. We want to make sure that they're good with the governance that we're performing up here. But thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chairman. Jim, I used to have a house like this. If these garage doors were moved over to the side, would that meet the requirements?
A side entry garage would meet the requirements, yes.
So it kind of seems to me that it's such a small little bitty deal here. Same garage, just the door's in a different place.
You would have windows there instead of doors. More than likely, you would have windows there
Yeah,
instead of
because
doors, yes.
the house I had, the doors were over on the side. I hated it. That's all I had.
Any other comments or questions? Well, I'm kind of in agreement with Commissioner Crane. I, too, had a house that was similar, but my garage door was on the front. And because of this lot, obviously, you can't put the garage door on the side. So it's not really a question of the style of house not fitting, because if it's on the corner, it's okay. So I personally don't have a big problem with it either. But I'm open to anyone making a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
I'll make a motion to approve case 17013, request to waive garage orientation design requirement for the home proposed to be constructed on 104 East Olive Street.
Second.
Okay, I am not going to repeat that. I'm going to say that you are, you're recommending that we accept this, not deny it. I'm going to word this totally wrong. Someone help me here. You want to approve case, which is allowing it, because the wording was to
Right.
We were approving it, we're not going with staff's recommendation.
Yeah, the motion's in the affirmative to approve the case.
Okay. All right. Those in favor? Or do you have a comment, or? No. Okay, okay. Those in favor? Oh, looks pretty unanimous. Okay. Then I guess that case is settled.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, next we have no new business, so we can move on to the city council report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Jonathan Zur, on behalf of the city, pleasure to provide you with a city council report. Since your last meeting on the 17th, we have had one city council meeting. I have a very limited amount of report to provide to you, and that is simply under the new business first readings, the governing body members on the Planning and Zoning Commission. The mayor has graciously indicated a desire to continue serving on this commission and to act as liaison between the commission as well as the city council. That is the only specific item. There was some discussion about now Councilmember Berenson as to his ability to sit, but it's a one or the other the council has at this particular point, and so the mayor has made the determination that he is going to serve. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is the staff report.
Thank you. Briefly go over a couple of upcoming commission meetings. So the commission will be meeting in 2 weeks on May 16th. We have one public hearing scheduled. It's a request for reclassification of zoning for lots 158 through 175 of Heritage Hills. If you recall, within the last couple of months, we had a similar request to this for lots that were further to the north, on the north side of Pine Street. Initially, the property owner was not going to request rezoning on the south part of Pine Street, but they have reconsidered that and are coming forward with the proposal to change the zoning of these lots that were previously platted at the same time as the other lots we recently rezoned. So they're requesting these lots to go from R1 to R2. I believe their intent here is to have, unlike the north lots, which were going to be all two-family dwellings, this is going to be a mixture of single-family and two-family. Some of the lots are adjacent to the Point townhomes, and then some of the lots would be adjacent to the Rambo Wood single-family subdivision. We do have a good neighbor meeting scheduled for tomorrow evening to be able to hear from the neighbors on that particular request. That will be a public hearing again on May 16th. And then on your June 6th meeting, we will have a public hearing for the annual review of the UDC, which will incorporate the one area that the mayor mentioned this evening regarding changes to the process for waivers in the original town neighborhood. But there's several requests that we'll be bringing forward to you as part of that annual review. And again, it'll just be a discussion, what we would recommend, and then would seek your direction on whether we actually file an official amendment. So that's the process that we'll go through on the 6th. So those are the cases that we currently have scheduled at this time. That concludes staff report.
Thank you. All right, do we have any comments from the public? I see the public's going to speak. State your name and where you live.
My name's Adam Hembry. I live on North Jackson Street on the south cul-de-sac. I want to comment on the plan to rezone Heritage Hills lots 158 to 175. I just want to understand the intent of that because I'm concerned as a property owner that we've seen some poor example or some good examples of how those types of neighborhoods can become in Raymore. So I'm really anxious to hear what the plan is about that, to ensure that we don't repeat that kind of thing. So
Okay, thank you.
that's all I had. Thank you.
If I can jump, can you give us an idea of where we're looking at here? Again, kind of refresh my memory in terms of where these lots are located.
These are the lots that are located, they'll be east of Madison Street, they'll be south of Pine Street. So they'll be between 58 Highway and Foxwood Drive to the north. They are currently undeveloped lots. They've been in existence since the 1980s. They just were never built upon. Right now, Pine Street dead ends into the land area that we're talking about rezoning. And it can be accessed, as this land develops, they'll have access from Pine Street from the west and from Franklin Street from the south. And yeah, here's the general map that David has brought up for your review. One thing I do want to comment, if I can, Madam Chair, to the neighbor that's here. The Good Neighbor meeting will be tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock in the council chambers here. So it's a good opportunity to be able to be here, to be able to talk with the applicant, find out what their intent is, and have discussion with other neighbors that may be here as well. The Good Neighbor meeting, again, is just a very informal process. We'll take any comments made at that meeting and then present them to the commission at your May 16th meeting. So just want to make sure that you're aware of the meeting tomorrow evening.
Okay,
Very good, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to let the commissioners make some final comments. We'll start with Commissioner Bowie. Well, not final ever, but today, yeah, this is the last thing on our list here.
They're on the agenda.
No final comments from me. You're doing a nice job, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Anderson.
No comment.
All right, Commissioner Crane,
No comment.
Commissioner Sarsfield,
No comment.
Mayor.
Yeah, well, sure. As you probably have seen, the signs are going up on the businesses there at 58 and Dean. They are getting very close to getting their occupancy certifications submitted to them. So Jim, can you comment on if any of those occupancies have been distributed yet? I know we're getting really, really close on those, and I'd like for the board to know when their anticipation of opening is.
We are getting very close. The first tenant to open will be Kay Jewelers. They have the approval to stock the store, so you'll see product going into the store. They do not have the certificate of occupancy to open yet, but that's hopefully still could happen yet this week. They just had a couple of product, door, et cetera, that didn't come in, and so they need to have those final items come in before they can actually open the store. Quickly behind it will be the, of course, Qdoba and the Panda Express stores, both coming along very quickly, but don't expect those to open until the 1st of June timeframe.
Okay.
So yeah, I did notice the signs went up today. The site is looking very good. They just have interior finish work to be completed on the 2 restaurants at this time. The other tenant, Firehouse Subs, that's been announced, are just, and they just basically are looking at commencing their tenant improvements within the store as well. So they'll be a little bit further behind.
Okay, thank you for the update on that. And also the Centerview project right behind us here. It's very close to completion as well. This weekend, they were supposed to work all weekend. As you know, it was a flooding going on everywhere. And we were no exception when they tried to put some of the windows in, the glazing on the windows there the water rushed in and they weren't able to complete that project. So that's pushed that a week for our ribbon cutting that we're hoping to do. And I think we're targeting, rather than May 27th, is it June 2nd now, or is it?
I think that is for completion of the building. And then there would be the ribbon cutting and opening would be a week or 2 after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting very close there as well. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Where are we at in terms of the center at Rec Park over there? How far along are we? At 100% design, and where are we at in terms of construction on that?
The design is 100% complete. We have not gone to, well, we have gone to bid. We have not awarded the contract at this
okay.
point in time. We've been in negotiations on final price, but I believe we are there at this point in time, and we'll be bringing the contract forward for council approval, and then we can start the construction activity. Yeah, we have put it out for bid. We have the contractor selected. The bid came in a little high, so we had to do a little bit of review on items that some alternative items that we were needing to do to get the price where we have it now, where it's at budget. So that project hopefully will go through council review. Hopefully it can be started, perhaps, June, end of June-ish timeframe. Then about a 10 to 12 month completion process. We're hoping to open that facility, have that done by May of 18.
Thank you.
We did have one other thing.
Okay.
As you know, we have an opening on the commission for Ward 4, and I did get one application. Melody Armstrong, she's a doctor that ran for Ward 4 City Council. She has accepted and put in an application upon my request because I thought she'd be a great addition to this group. And so that resolution will be proposed fairly soon to the council for approval.
Thank you.
Jim, do you know when we might be able to get that on, what agenda we might be able to get that on?
If we have all the material, we should be able to get it on for the May 8th meeting.
That'd be great, because I know she's anxious to join us.
Very good.
Okay.
We get that done.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I would just like to say thanks to everybody for indulging this, my first time doing this, and kind of stumbling through. And thanks staff for getting us all the information like they always do. You guys are always great. And now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? I'd say that's unanimous.
We missed
Meeting
it
adjourned.
by one